Welcome to another fascinating deep dive into the world of rare and valuable U.S. coins. Today, we're exploring one of the most historically rich and collectible silver coins ever struck, the 1917 Mercury 1 dime with the W mint mark. This coin might look small and ordinary to the untrained eye, but for coin collectors and silver investors, it represents a true piece of American history, artistry, and lasting value. Whether you've just discovered a 1917 dime in your old coin jar, or you're a serious numismatist looking to understand every hidden detail, this guide will tell you everything you need to know about the Mercury 1 dime from 1917 and that mysterious W marking that everyone's talking about. Let's start with its origin. The Mercury dime was first introduced in 1916, replacing the barber dime that had been in use since the late 1800s. Designed by sculptor Adolph A. Weinman, this coin instantly became famous for its elegant and symbolic artwork. The obverse side, or the front of the coin, shows a portrait of Liberty wearing a winged cap. Those wings represent freedom of thought, and because Liberty's image resembled the Roman god Mercury, collectors quickly started calling it the Mercury dime. The reverse side of the coin features a fasces, a bundle of rods tied together with an axe, a classic Roman symbol of strength and unity, combined with an olive branch, symbolizing peace. This combination perfectly reflects the ideals of America at the time: strong but peaceful, independent but united. Now, when it comes to the 1917 Mercury dime, one detail that always sparks curiosity is the W mint mark seen near Liberty's neck. Many people think this W stands for West Point or some rare mint location, but that's not the case. The W is actually the designer's initial, representing Adolph A. Weinman. It's not a mint mark at all, but a signature, yet it has caused so much confusion that collectors still refer to it as the W mint mark Mercury dime. Over the years, this misunderstanding has actually made the coin even more famous, with some people thinking they've found a super rare minting variation when they spot that little W. The 1917 Mercury dime was minted at 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia coins carry no mint mark. The Denver coins have a small D on the reverse near the fasces, and the San Francisco coins have a tiny S in that same location. Altogether, over 55 million 1917 Mercury dimes were struck across all mints. But despite that high number, not many survive today in pristine, uncirculated condition. And that scarcity is exactly why collectors value this coin so highly. Let's talk about what everyone wants to know: the value. A circulated 1917 Mercury dime, meaning one that's been used in everyday transactions and shows noticeable wear, is still worth more than its face value because it's 90% silver. Even a heavily worn coin is usually worth at least $3 to $5 based on silver content alone. However, once you step into collector-grade territory, the price climbs fast. A lightly circulated 1917 Mercury dime in fine or very fine condition can bring $15 to $35, depending on the mint mark. Coins in extremely fine or about uncirculated condition, where Liberty's hair and wings are still sharp and the fasces lines are clearly visible, can range from $60 up to $120. Now, if you're lucky enough to own a mint state (MS) coin, one that has never circulated and still has its original mint luster, you could be looking at a small fortune. A 1917 Mercury dime graded MS 63 can sell for around $180 to $250. If it's graded MS 65, prices jump to between $350 and $600, depending on how clean and sharply struck the surfaces are. But the real prize is a full bands Mercury dime. The term full bands refers to the horizontal lines across the fasces on the back of the coin. When those bands are fully visible and clearly separated, it means the coin was struck exceptionally well, and collectors will pay huge premiums for that. A 1917 Mercury dime with full bands can sell for anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 or more, depending on the grade and eye appeal. Now, let's move to the exciting part: minting errors and varieties. The 1917 Mercury dime has a few well-known error types that dramatically increase its value. The double die obverse, for example, shows doubling on the words "In God We Trust" or Liberty's facial features. These double die coins can bring prices from $200 to over $1,000, depending on clarity. Another collectible error is the off-center strike, where part of the coin design is missing because it wasn't centered properly during striking. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin, sometimes fetching $500 to $1,500. Collectors also prize examples with die cracks, rim cuts, or missing letters, all of which are rare mistakes that make each coin unique. Beyond value, the Mercury dime carries deep symbolic meaning. The 1917 issue came out during a pivotal moment in American history, World War I. The imagery of freedom, peace, and unity struck a patriotic chord with Americans, making this coin more than just currency. It was a message of hope and resilience. Many people at the time kept these dimes as good luck charms, and today, collectors see them as timeless pieces of American art. Another important factor to remember is the metal composition. The 1917 Mercury dime is 90% silver and 10% copper, weighing 2.5 grams. Even if it's too worn for collectors, it's still valuable for its silver content. But the numismatic value, the collector's value, is what really makes it shine. Clean, original coins with bright silver surfaces and no cleaning damage are far more desirable than polished or heavily cleaned pieces. If you think you have a valuable 1917 Mercury dime, the best thing you can do is get it professionally graded by a trusted service like PCGS or NGC. Having your coin authenticated and certified ensures you know exactly what condition it's in and what it's truly worth. Grading companies assign numeric grades from 1 to 70, with higher numbers meaning better preservation. For example, MS 60 is the lowest mint state grade, while MS 70 would be a perfect, flawless coin, though finding a perfect 1917 Mercury dime is practically impossible. Collectors today continue to search for high-grade examples with the sharpest details, natural toning, and that crisp W signature of Adolf Weinmann. Even though the W isn't a real mint mark, it adds personality to the coin and reminds us of the artistry that went into its creation. Weinmann also designed other famous coins, including the Walking Liberty $50, which shares the same spirit of freedom and beauty. The Mercury dime series ran from 1916 to 1945, and the 1917 issue stands out as one of the earliest and most collectible. Whether you own one from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, it's worth examining carefully. Look at the strike, check for mint errors, and make sure to store it properly, preferably in a coin holder or airtight capsule to prevent tarnish or damage. In summary, the 1917 Mercury 1 dime W mintmark coin is far more than just an old piece of silver. It's a work of art from one of America's most respected designers. It's a tangible piece of history from the early 20th century. And for collectors, it's a coin that can bring both emotional and financial rewards. From modest $10 fines to multi-thousand-dollar auction results, this dime continues to shine in the world of numismatics. The 1918 Mercury 1 dime with the S mint mark, often referred to as the 1918 S Mercury dime, also known as the Winged Liberty Head dime. This beautiful silver coin holds an incredible story of artistry, wartime history, and numismatic value that continues to captivate coin collectors around the world. Whether you're a beginner in coin collecting, an investor searching for rare silver dimes, or simply a history enthusiast, this video will take you on a detailed, fascinating journey into the 1918 Mercury dime and why the S mint mark version is one of the most sought-after pieces from the early 20th century. The Mercury dime was designed by Adolf A. Weinmann, the same sculptor behind the Walking Liberty $50. His initials, that famous W mark, appears subtly on the coin, often mistaken by beginners as a mint mark. But here's the truth. The W stands for Weinmann, not West Point, which didn't even mint coins at the time. On the 1918 Mercury dime, the real mint mark, the S, indicates it was struck at the San Francisco Mint, one of the most respected U.S. mint branches for quality silver coinage during the early 1900s. The 1918 S Mercury dime was minted in the aftermath of World War I, during a time when America was emerging as a global power. Over 19 million of these coins were produced in San Francisco, but because they circulated heavily in the 1920s and 1930s, very few survived in high-grade condition today. Many examples were worn down through decades of use, which makes finding one with sharp details, especially on the winged cap and fasces reverse, extremely rare and valuable to collectors. Now let's talk about the design and symbolism, something that truly sets this coin apart. On the obverse, or front, of the coin, we see Liberty wearing a winged cap, symbolizing freedom of thought, not the Roman god Mercury, as many people assume, though the nickname stuck. The word Liberty arcs above her head, with the motto, "In God We Trust," beneath the chin and the date, 1918, near the bottom. On the reverse side, there's a fascinating bundle of rods tied together, known as the fasces, symbolizing unity and strength. Wrapped around it is an olive branch, representing peace, a perfect blend of power and harmony after the Great War. Together, these elements make the Mercury dime one of the most artistically admired coins in U.S. history. When it comes to value, condition is everything. A heavily circulated 1918 Mercury dime might fetch only around $3 to $8 in good condition due to its silver content. But in higher grades, such as very fine or extremely fine, values can climb into the $20 to $50 range. Uncirculated examples, graded MS-60 to MS-65, can easily reach $150 to $700 depending on luster, strike, and eye appeal. The rarest and most desirable examples are those with full bands on the reverse, meaning the horizontal lines across the fasces are fully visible and sharply struck. A 1918 full bands Mercury dime in mint state condition can soar to $2,500 or more, and some pristine examples certified by PCGS or NGC have even surpassed $10,000 at major auctions. Collectors also prize the error coins from 1918, especially those showing die cracks, off-center strikes, or double dies on the date or lettering. These minting errors can boost value dramatically, sometimes by hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on severity and visibility. For example, a 1918 Mercury dime with a visible double die obverse or an inverted S mint mark has become a showpiece coin that attracts intense bidding from collectors worldwide. Another fascinating aspect of the 1918 Mercury dime is its metal composition. Each coin was struck in 90% silver and 10% copper, with a total silver weight of around 0.07234 troy ounces. That means even a worn example holds intrinsic bullion value tied to silver prices. But for collectors, it's the rarity, design, and condition that truly drive the coin's worth, far beyond its melt value. If you're hunting for this coin today, pay close attention to strike sharpness, surface quality, and mint mark clarity. On genuine 1918 Mercury dimes, the S mint mark appears on the reverse side, just to the right of the word 1 and below the E in states. Counterfeits and altered coins exist, so always buy from reputable dealers or submit your coin to grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, for authentication and certification. These services not only verify authenticity, but also assign a standardized grade that significantly increases collector trust and resale value. The historical context of this coin also adds emotional weight. Imagine a dime like this circulating in 1918, the final year of World War I, used to buy everyday essentials, a loaf of bread, or a newspaper announcing the armistice. Every Mercury dime from this era carries a silent story of resilience and change in American life. That's why owning a 1918 is not just about owning silver. It's about holding a small, tangible piece of U.S. history. Today, the Mercury dime series, especially the early mint-marked coins like the 1916 D, 1917 S, and 1918 S, remain core staples in any serious silver coin collection. The artistry, silver purity, and historical depth have kept demand strong even a century later. For investors, the 1918 is a stable long-term piece because high-grade examples rarely surface, and when they do, they tend to appreciate in value year after year. Before we wrap up, here's a quick collector tip. If you happen to come across a 1918 Mercury dime that appears unusually sharp, with bright silver luster and clear band details, store it properly. Use a non-PVC coin holder, avoid direct touching, And if it looks uncirculated, consider professional grading. It might be worth hundreds or even thousands. And remember, always check for that subtle W by Weinman and the official S mint mark from San Francisco. The true signs that you're holding a genuine 1918 S Mercury 1 dime, a masterpiece of American coinage. So whether you're searching through old coin rolls, exploring antique shops, or adding to your silver coin portfolio, keep an eye out for the 1918 Mercury 1 dime WS mint mark, a small coin with a big legacy. It represents the perfect balance of beauty, rarity, and historical significance. And that's why, even over 100 years later, this dime continues to shine as one of the most beloved silver treasures of the United States Mint. The 1919 Mercury 1 dime with the D mint mark, also known as the 1919 D Mercury dime. This silver coin is a classic piece of early 20th century U.S. minting history and remains a shining example of art, symbolism, and scarcity. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist, a silver investor, or a new collector curious about coin history, the 1919 D Mercury dime stands out as one of the most intriguing treasures you can discover. The Mercury dime, officially called the Winged Liberty Head dime, was designed by Adolph A. Weinman, one of America's most talented sculptors of the early 1900s. His initials, the small W mark on the obverse of the coin, represent his signature and not a mint mark. Many people confuse the W for a West Point mint mark, but it's important to note that West Point didn't mint coins at that time. The true mint mark for this coin is the letter D, which appears on the reverse and indicates it was minted at the Denver Mint in 1919. The 1919 D Mercury dime holds a unique place in U.S. coinage history. America was just emerging from World War I and moving into an era of economic optimism and industrial expansion. This coin was part of everyday commerce during a time when a single dime could buy a loaf of bread, a newspaper, or a cup of coffee. Yet today, over a century later, the 1919 D Mercury dime is prized not for its purchasing power, but for its artistic beauty, silver content, and collectible rarity. Let's talk about the design. The Mercury dime's beauty lies in its symbolic depth. On the obverse side, we see Lady Liberty wearing a winged cap, representing freedom of thought, a fitting theme for an America growing in innovation and independence. Around her are the inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, and the year 1919. Below Liberty's neck, you can spot the tiny W for Weinman's signature. The reverse design features a fascinating bundle of rods bound together, known as the fasces, symbolizing unity and strength, while the olive branch wrapped around it represents peace. These dual symbols make the Mercury dime a true work of art, embodying both power and harmony, traits that defined post-war America. Now let's explore the mintage and rarity. The Denver Mint struck approximately 9,939,000 Mercury dimes in 1919, which may sound like a large number, but due to circulation, melting, and loss over time, finding well-preserved examples today is extremely challenging. Most 1919 D dimes were heavily used, showing significant wear. That's why high-grade examples, especially those with strong strikes and the rare full bands feature on the reverse, command exceptional value in the modern coin market. When it comes to value and pricing, the 1919 D Mercury dime varies widely based on condition. A circulated coin in good G4 condition might be valued around $4 to $10, mostly for its silver content. In fine F12 condition, expect values closer to $15 to $25, while very fine VF20 examples typically sell for $40 to $70. Moving up to extremely fine XF40, where Liberty's hair and wings show fine details, prices often reach $100 to $150. In mint state, MS60 to MS65, meaning uncirculated condition, the 1919 D Mercury dime becomes a true collector's gem. Prices in these grades range from $300 to $1,000, and coins with the full bands designation, where the central lines on the fasces are completely visible and separated, can easily exceed $2,500 or more. At major auctions, 1919 D Mercury dimes with full bands in MS 67 condition have sold for over $20,000, making this one of the most valuable Denver-minted dimes of the early 20th century. Collectors are also drawn to error varieties and minting anomalies from this year. A few rare examples display double die obverse, off-center strikes, or misplaced mint marks, all of which can increase the coin's worth substantially. An unusual die crack, a weak D mint mark, or a planchet error can make a coin even more desirable to specialists. When a coin combines both rarity and a visible error, its auction value can rise exponentially, sometimes doubling or tripling its base numismatic price. Each 1919 D Mercury dime was struck in 90% silver and 10% copper, with a total silver weight of approximately 0.07234 troy ounces. Even at today's silver prices, that gives it some intrinsic bullion value. However, its collectible worth goes far beyond melt value. The true appeal comes from its artistry, its age, and its story, a century-old coin that connects us directly to America's rich past. To identify an authentic 1919 D Mercury dime, look carefully at the reverse side. You'll find the small D mint mark located to the right of the word 1 and just below the E in states. On the obverse, the tiny W near Liberty's neck identifies the designer, not the mint. Counterfeiters have occasionally altered mint marks on lower-value coins, so collectors should always authenticate rare examples through trusted grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company. Certified coins not only confirm authenticity, but also receive an official grade, which can dramatically increase their market value. When it comes to preserving a coin like this, proper storage is essential. Use a non-PVC coin holder or airtight capsule, and avoid direct handling. Oils from your skin can tarnish silver surfaces. Never clean your coin with chemical agents or abrasives. Cleaning can permanently damage the surface and reduce its collectible value. If you believe your 1919 D Mercury dime might be uncirculated, submit it for professional grading before making any restoration attempts. The 1919 D also tells a powerful historical story. Imagine holding a coin that circulated during the Jazz Age, through Prohibition, and the Roaring 1920s. This dime may have been used in a small-town grocery store, carried by soldiers returning from war, or saved by families during hard times. Every mark, every bit of wear, tells part of that century-old journey, and that's what makes numismatics so compelling. From an investment perspective, Mercury dimes, especially the early Denver and San Francisco mint issues, have proven to be strong performers over time. Their combination of silver content, historic design, and low survival rate make them popular among both traditional and modern collectors. The 1919 D is a particularly strategic choice because it bridges the gap between affordability and potential appreciation. A solid mid-grade example can still be found under $100, yet its market trend shows steady increases year after year, especially for coins graded by PCGS or NGC. When hunting for a 1919 D Mercury dime, keep an eye out for sharp strikes, natural luster, and the full bands designation. These details set apart common coins from premium-grade investment pieces. Also, be cautious of counterfeits. Genuine Denver mint marks have a distinct shape and placement that differ from added or altered ones. Learning to identify these characteristics is key for every serious collector. The 1923 Mercury 1 dime with the S mint mark, also known as the 1923 S Mercury dime. This coin stands as a piece of early American artistry and history, designed by the legendary sculptor Adolph A. Weinman, whose initials, the small W seen on the coin, are often misunderstood but carry an incredible story. In this complete 10-minute exploration, we'll uncover everything about the 1923 S Mercury dime, its design, history, value, mint mark meaning, and the reasons it remains one of the most sought-after dimes among collectors worldwide. Let's begin with the background of this beautiful coin. The Mercury dime, officially named the Winged Liberty Head dime, was minted from 1916 to 1945 and quickly became one of the most artistic designs in American numismatic history. Designed by Adolph A. Weinman, who also created the famous walking Liberty half dollar, the Mercury dime showcases a young Liberty wearing a winged cap, a symbol of freedom of thought. This design was so admired that it later inspired the U.S. Mint's 2016 Centennial Gold Dime. On the obverse side, or front, of the coin, Liberty's face is framed by the word Liberty across the top and the motto, "In God We Trust," along the left. Below the neck appears the date 1923, and just beside it you'll notice a small W. Not a mint mark, but the designer's initials, Adolph A. Weinman. Many new collectors confuse this W for a West Point mint mark, but that's a misconception. The West Point Mint didn't produce coins during this era. Instead, this coin's true mint mark, the letter S, identifies it as being struck at the San Francisco Mint, one of the key U.S. mint facilities known for its fine craftsmanship. On the reverse side, we see the powerful image of a fasces, a bundle of rods tied together around an axe, symbolizing unity and strength, accompanied by an olive branch representing peace. Together, these elements deliver a profound message, peace through strength, a message that resonated deeply in the post-World War I years when this coin was minted. The 1923 Mercury dime was minted during a decade of change, the roaring 1920s. The economy was booming, jazz was taking over, and America was stepping confidently into the modern age. During this time, the San Francisco Mint struck 6,440,000 dimes in 1923. While this might seem like a healthy number, the majority of those coins were heavily circulated for decades, meaning that high-grade examples are exceptionally rare today. The low survival rate of uncirculated coins makes the 1923 one of the key semi-scarce dates in the Mercury dime series. Now let's talk about the value and grading of the 1923 Mercury dime, something every collector loves to know. In good G4 condition, a 1923 Mercury dime typically trades between $4 and $10, mostly for its silver content. In fine F12 condition, with Liberty's features visible but worn, values can climb to $20 to $35. Coins in very fine VF20 condition, showing more definition in Liberty's hair and the wings, often sell for $60 to $90. Once you reach the extremely fine XF40 range, where details are crisp and sharp, values rise dramatically, usually $120 to $250 depending on luster and surface quality. Now, if you're lucky enough to find an uncirculated mint state, MS 60 or higher, 1923 Mercury dime, you're holding a true treasure. These coins, especially those with minimal marks and strong strikes, can easily reach $400 to $1,000, while full bands examples, those with fully separated horizontal bands across the fasces, are significantly rarer. In fact, a 1923 Mercury dime with full bands in MS 65 condition can sell for over $3,000 to $6,000. At major auctions, top-graded examples with full bands have surpassed $10,000, making them some of the most desirable Mercury dimes from the early 1920s. One of the key challenges with the 1923 issue is that many coins were weakly struck, especially on the reverse, due to worn dies at the San Francisco Mint that year. That means even mint-state examples might lack sharp detail in the central bands, a feature collectors watch closely when assigning top value. The full bands designation awarded by grading services like PCGS and NGC greatly enhances a coin's market desirability and price. Collectors also pay close attention to error coins and minting varieties from 1923. Some 1923 Mercury dimes display subtle die cracks, doubled lettering, or off-center strikes, all of which can significantly increase collector interest. A few examples even exhibit repunched mint marks, where the mint mark was accidentally stamped twice, a rare detail that can make a coin worth several $100s more. Each small variation tells part of the mint's production story, and finding one of these errors can be incredibly rewarding for enthusiasts. Let's not forget the composition and physical details of the coin. Like other Mercury dimes, the 1923 was struck in 90% silver and 10% copper, with a total silver weight of approximately 0.07234 troy ounces. It measures 17.9 millimeters in diameter and weighs 2.5 grams. Though its intrinsic silver value fluctuates with bullion markets, the coin's true worth lies in its numismatic significance, age, and condition. If you're trying to identify a genuine 1923 Mercury dime, flip the coin over and look just to the right of the word 1 and beneath the E in states. That's where you'll see the small S mint mark. Counterfeiters sometimes alter mint marks on common Philadelphia issues, so it's best to purchase or verify your coins through reputable sources. 4 high-value pieces, professional grading from PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, is strongly recommended. Authentication and encapsulation protect the coin and confirm its grade, boosting its resale potential and collector appeal. Now, let's talk a bit about preservation and care. To maintain your coin's beauty and value, always store it in a non-PVC coin holder or airtight capsule to prevent tarnish and oxidation. Avoid touching the coin's surfaces with your fingers. Natural oils can cause dark spots or degrade the metal over time. Never clean your coin with polish or chemicals, as this can scratch the surface and drastically reduce its collectible value. Remember, collectors and grading services value original surfaces and natural toning above all else. The 1923 Mercury dime is more than a coin. It's a living piece of history. Imagine the countless hands it passed through during the roaring 1920s, the jazz clubs, the bustling markets, and the hard-working Americans who used it daily. Every scratch and detail carries the story of its century-long journey. For many collectors, owning a coin like this is about more than value. It's about connection to a bygone era of American craftsmanship and beauty. Thank you for joining me on this deep exploration of the 1923 Mercury 1 dime W's mint mark, a coin that blends silver, history, and artistry into one legendary piece of American heritage. If you love learning about rare coins, valuable mint errors, and hidden treasures from U.S. coin history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more rare coin stories just like this one. Every coin has a story, but few tell it as beautifully as the Mercury dime of 1923.